Hi, sorry it's been so long since my last video. Christmas and the new year were super busy for me and some stuff went down at home I needed to sort out before getting back to game development. I'm back now though, and should hopefully not be having another break like that for a while. Thank you all for sticking around, I really appreciate it. Right, so it's week 11 of 26 for my cybersecurity tower defense game project, and I should be approaching the halfway point with this. Whether I am or not is hard to tell, but I think I'm still on track to finish on time. So after finishing off attack simulation basics in the last video, I switched to an entirely different part of the game, the level selection screen. The first step though was to create a basic main menu from which the player can navigate to level selection. With the main menu layout complete, I then created the layout for the level selection screen. The finished screen will have the levels laid out horizontally in sets of 5, with the medal awarded for each as the level icon. The levels are then linked with connections similar to those between nodes in the game, with the colours bleeding from one to the next. This is the mock-up I made before starting on the Unity project. As both of these screens are completely static at the moment, I created the relevant classes to handle everything and began work on some animation trigger code. I always build out the interface first, as it makes it a lot easier when coding to link everything up. So the idea here is when you click the level select button, there's a neat little transition to the level selection screen to make everything feel slick. I decided the simple fade wasn't enough though, and added a slight rising animation to the level selection interface. That looks like this in the game, and you can click the main menu text to return to the main menu. I really like how clean and simple this is, and it should hopefully look pretty good when it's all done. So next I had to make some medals to go in the spaces on the level selection interface, and they're just circles with darker outlines. One for gold, silver and bronze of course. I also created one for levels with no medal and one for locked levels, which the player will unlock through gaining medals from previous levels. These should hopefully be pretty clear to the player, and again, the simplicity is my favourite thing about this design. They of course needed adding to the medal object in Unity, and the game selects the correct medal based on the current save game. Here you can see if I change the default medal for level saves, the change is reflected in the interface. I somehow managed to go most of the break without any footage of what I got up to, but here's some stuff from a day in London. I've also been recording some music, which has always been my main hobby aside from game development, so I'll keep you updated on that. If you're into indie folk kind of stuff, then hopefully you'll like my music. My Spotify is in the description. So, moving on from interface design, I needed to make it possible to drop security defenses such as sanitation or firewalls onto connections between two nodes. This will be a major part of the gameplay, and the strategic placement of these defenses will be an important skill in the game. Implementing this though proved trickier than expected. It started well, implementing the onTriggerEnter method in Unity, which is triggered when a defense makes contact with a connection. After that is when all the weirdness started happening. I couldn't for almost 2 days figure out why one of the two temporary connections I was creating just wasn't following the defense as it's dragged. I ended up getting lucky with some console output and discovered that when I was asking C# to remove a certain connection from memory, it was actually removing a different one. That made it pretty clear that I'd written a bad equals method for comparing connections. For those that don't know, equals methods are used by the language itself whenever comparisons are made between two objects, and if it's not written correctly, weird stuff such as this can happen. With the terrible old code thrown away and just 2 lines of code changed, everything worked exactly as expected. As you drag a defense over a connection, the game creates 2 preview connections to indicate where the defense will be active. I made the game hide the original connection when this happens, and the result was this. The connections appear to be magnetically attracted to the defense. The final step was to make the defense snap into place when it's dropped. I wrote some code to find the middle point between 2 neighbouring nodes and used Unity's lerp function to create a smooth transition, dropping the defense into place. It looks exactly how I'd imagined it, so I'm really pleased with that progress. Big thanks for this video of course go to my patrons, and Nick in particular. If you want to support the channel, the link to my Patreon is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, smash subscribe, and I shall see you next time with a video on my other project, Lumbermill.